And I think a lot of it, especially in my case, is wanting to control. Because I came to Romania with an idea of what I want to do. And now I knew that I had to be open about coming here. And, I knew that I had some wiggle room in my plan for whatever may happen. But at this point, it's been completely turned on its head. And now I'm just kind of in that state where I'm trying to just process a little bit and I'm trying to reason with myself that I don't always need to control it. Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
welcome. Thank you for being here. I am Andreea Parc. I'm a mother, an author, a mindset coach, and a mentor.
And,
And
and I'm Alexa Dumitru, a New York-based fashion designer.
welcome to How I Escaped Prison. This is a podcast where we share real stories of overcoming mental and emotional barriers. Please join us as we explore challenges that life throws at us and how we found freedom by escaping the prisons of our own minds. Today we have a special guest, Miss Robin Adelson. She's a fantastic coach, but I would allow her to introduce herself and tell us more about you, please.
Oh,
Welcome.
thank you. Thank you both so much for having me. It's a pleasure to see you both together, because for your listeners, I can see them. We're on Zoom. Um, my name is Robin Adelson, and as Andrea mentioned, I am a health and well-being coach. I have been doing this just for a couple of years. When you talk about change, I think we have so many changes throughout our lives, so many inflection points, and so many paths or forks in a road. And sometimes you can choose where you're going, and sometimes you have no choice, and change is foisted on you. And what I have learned in my life is that when you embrace the change, however it comes, there are always good outcomes. There's always something positive. And at this point, I think I so completely agree with your whole theory about or your position about freeing yourself from the prison of your mind, because I think so often changes give us the opportunity to do that if we're brave enough and willing to take those opportunities. So my backstory really quickly, I am a mother of three. I have three grown daughters, all in their mid to late 20s. I was an attorney for about 15 years. And when I was about 40, decided to change my career path entirely, really to signal to my daughters that if your mother is going to be working, she should enjoy what she's doing. And I think I had just gotten to a point where I didn't enjoy my work as much. So I spent the next 17 years running nonprofit organizations. And in the course of this, my life fell apart. Not thankfully, my daughters are healthy and fine, and my relationship with them is has always been fantastic, and I can't imagine that will ever change. But my 22-year marriage ended in divorce right when I was on the cusp of turning 50. And um, I think that's a really potentially difficult time in general. I think it brings so much opportunity for growth and liberation, but it's also a little bit terrifying. And after having this intertwined life with somebody else for so long and finding out that it was not the life that I thought it was, that was my first really big change. It gave me a chance to actually sit back and think, what was it that I thought it was? And had I ever really been as happy as the illusion that I had built up in my own mind, and realized that I hadn't. So that was a really important change for me, and a destructive change, and ultimately a really healing change. My second change came a couple of years ago. I had, for the first time in my life, reached a point where I thought, I just can't do this anymore. I can't be everything to everybody. I can't continue in my work. I had several unexpected health issues arise. My father suddenly passed away. My dog was diagnosed with cancer. My organization that I was running was in a really tough, precarious position financially. And it was really the first time in my life that I thought, this is too much and I can't do this. And also the first time in my life that I thought, that's okay. Step back. And I stepped back, and I had been training to become a coach really because I thought it would be helpful for myself. And I thought I would learn about self-care, and I could help my daughters, and I could help my team at work, and I could better support my friends. And at some point between that learning and just the changes that had been affecting me, that caused me to say, I can't work in this job anymore and I need to take some time to myself. At some point, that just all coalesced into, I think it's time for a new career. And I started to pursue coaching and blogging, and I'm thrilled with it. And largely because of the way it has allowed me to free myself from the constraints in my own mind and extend that to other people. That's me.
Thank you for sharing. And as I calculated your changes, I think they were three, not two. From attorney to nonprofit organization, and from nonprofit to coaching and your life change.
True.
For the listeners, I would love to ask you, because I'm a former attorney as well. And I work with a lot of attorneys that are really stressed, and we all know how the life of an attorney, especially in New York, is. Was it any trigger, or was it anything that made you say, that's it? I I need to change something, otherwise I'll go down the rabbit hole. Something worse is gonna happen.
I don't think it was any specific trigger. I will say though, like you, I work with a lot of attorneys, and I don't think I was as aware at the time. And when that change occurred for me, I don't think I was fully conscious of everything that change held and everything that it meant. But what I do see so clearly with attorneys that I'm working with now is really that just lack of acceptance that self-care is essential. That so buying into stress is good and busy is good, and I need to be busy all the time. And if anybody asks, I mean, I spent years, as so many people I know were like this. We just spent years where the minute somebody asks you, how are you? Your answer is always, I'm busy. I'm so busy. I'm so crazy busy. And that, I think that hamster wheel just really, at some point, I knew that I had to get off, that mindset was not healthy for me. It was not right for me. And it was making me sad. And again, I had 3 daughters at home, and always first and foremost in my mind was being a good role model and a good example for them. And if I wanted to teach my children that a woman can have it all, I needed to do a better job of it. I needed to be working in something that gave me some fulfillment and wasn't stressing me unnecessarily. Of course, I then moved to an industry or a sector, the nonprofit sector, where the stress was probably 3 times as much as being an attorney. However, it was so fulfilling that made it okay. There was so much more balance there, and that helped me for a considerable amount of time.
And you work there as an attorney in the legal field as well, or just management?
I started off when I first started looking at nonprofit positions, I started looking at general counsel positions and realized that the work I was really interested in doing was not the legal work. So I really made a change. I've been an executive director of 4 different organizations, 2 of them at the
Yeah.
same time.
How did you know that that was what you wanted to do?
I have always been very involved in community. Um, I've always done volunteer work. I've always been involved in my community. I've always been active. And I didn't know for sure that that's what I wanted to do, but I did know that that was a part of my life that brought me a lot of joy. And for me, joy and meaningfulness are connected. And I knew that I needed to do something that I found meaningful. Because without that kind of fulfillment, I wouldn't experience the kind of joy from work that I was really looking for. So I didn't know, and I think that's also an important message for people. You don't always know. You have to take chances, and taking a chance often means it's not going to work out. And yet, if you don't take the chance, you never know. So don't hold yourself back. Try it. If it doesn't work, you try something else. I was lucky, it worked. I was also lucky. I ended up going to an organization that had the same person running it for years and years and years and years. And they wanted something completely new, a fresh start, a blank canvas. And here I was, a blank canvas. I had never worked as an executive director of an organization before. I had no idea what to do, but I was excited about it. I was passionate about the mission, and we did great things for 9 years. So
It seems that you are a very conscious person. You're thinking a lot of your feelings and options, and also very courageous.
oh, that's so nice.
Take, I mean, as I said, I'm a former attorney as well. I had several
Mhm.
opportunities to change, and I didn't. I changed when I was forced to change. You mentioned earlier about the attorneys being stressed and overwhelmed at the time. And there is, and I'm mentioning somehow it comes to almost every episode that I'm mentioning this experiment done at an university in California about people, both men and women, young and older, to sit with their mind without a phone, just with alone for 15 minutes, without phones, without anything, or press a button and get an electric shock. And most of the people, especially men, chose the
They
electric
go for
shock.
the shock.
I mean, of course, it wasn't anything major. It was something, but it's interesting how we run away from pain of the change, being afraid to change, yet staying in the same situation for years is It's like a snowball that gets bigger and bigger and bigger until, in my case, it exploded. And at this point, I'm happy that I was thrown into that change, because otherwise, I don't think that I would have had your courage to change twice or three times voluntarily. And so many people do exactly the same. They are sometimes conscious of their situation, but they
Unwilling.
unwilling to take the chance.
And stuck, right? Just
Yeah.
feeling unwilling and because it's frightening.
Yeah.
Right. You know the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. So one of my favorite things, I don't even know if it's in the book or if that I heard him in an interview, but he said something about, I like to use fear as the gas pedal, not the brake. And I think it's such a worthwhile concept because fear is always going to be there. We're always going to be afraid of things. We're always, especially something new, we're afraid, we're anxious. You can't make it go away, but you can use it, or else just give it a friendly back seat and just leave it there. Acknowledge that it's there and leave it there. And then it frees you up to try things. But it's so interesting to me to hear you speak because, Andreea, I think you're so much braver than I ever was. I don't think I ever would have described myself as brave. And here you are, having been through so much and turned things around so beautifully and built and maintained this strong connection with your daughter. I think you took something that was forced on you and turned it into something so empowering and life-changing in the best possible way. And I think so many people have a lot of trouble doing that, right? It's so easy to take what happens to you and just sink into it and then really feel stuck. But um, I think your turnaround to me it's all about bravery and this
Thank you.
belief. You're welcome. I thank you for being so open with your story. I think there's so much that we can all always learn from each other. I think no matter what someone's story is, it never tells the whole story. And everybody has something, everybody has something to impart. Everybody has some wisdom. I feel like I know people that will come down on me really hard for saying that because they think that some people don't, but I actually really believe I believe everybody does the best they can, and I believe that everybody has something to share with others.
Of
And I
course,
believe you
yes.
have to be open, and you have to be open. The more open you are, the more opportunities will arise for you, and the more likely you are to take them.
Yes, and allow the change,
Yes. Yes. If you don't,
because
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
because our higher power is always trying to put us on the right path.
Yeah.
I know, again, from my experience, I've had several incidents in my life where things just wanted to go the other way, but I didn't allow things to go the other way. And I ended up eventually, um, I mean, I'm really happy with what happened. I don't know if I would have had the courage to take
Hmm.
responsibility for my life voluntarily,
Mhm.
but being thrown into change, I then when I didn't have anything, then is when I took responsibility and I realized that we all have a, the power to do what's best for us and everybody around. But sometimes our mind is taking over and hijacking sometimes. Yeah,
I think that's so
so
well put. Yes, so true. Right.
yes,
And
but
I think I agree with you that I think you have to be open to change. You also have to accept that there's a readiness component to it. And if you're not quite ready to change, it's not going to happen. It has to be important to you, and you have to have some level of confidence that you can make the change, whatever it is. And I think we sort of grow up thinking about this linear life, right? You're a child, then you're an adolescent, then you're a young adult, then you're an adult, then you're middle-aged, then you're a senior, and all of this, that's it, as if it's linear and as if you're supposed to hit milestones, everybody at the same time. And it doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. You're ready when you're ready. And until you are ready, change change doesn't really happen, or at least not lasting change.
yes, yes. And I've as we mentioned, Alexa is a fashion designer, and I've been telling her the other day that don't worry about it. What is for you will come to you. Just be open and allow things to go through. Some things will just come and go, and others, what's best for you will stick to you and with you. So,
I agree, Alex. I agree with that. Stick with it.
yeah, but sometimes, as you said, we're so afraid that we put the fear first and we don't use the fear as power to push forward.
And I think a lot of it, especially in my case, is wanting to control. Because I came to Romania with an idea of what I want to do. And now I knew that I had to be open about coming here. And, I knew that I had some wiggle room in my plan for whatever may happen. But at this point, it's been completely turned on its head. And now I'm just kind of in that state where I'm trying to just process a little bit, and I'm trying to reason with myself that I don't always need to control it. I don't always need to be in control of this situation. Everything will fall into place the way that it's meant to be. I need to work through it a little bit, not just expect it to fall out of the sky, but I need to relax a little bit because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah. And I've learned the hard way that trying to control things, it's not going well.
I think that's such human nature, right? And Alex, I have to say, hearing you speak, everything you're saying, those are things that I sort of didn't realize, and I didn't really internalize until midlife. So you're way ahead of the curve. And I really mean that. Like the fact that you understand that you can't control everything, that you can always put your best foot forward. You can always come up with ideas and pursue them and set goals for yourself. And also recognize that what you end up doing may look nothing like whatever it is you've set out to do. And that's okay. That's often really good. You just
I
you
had a
gotta
good mentor.
She is a
Yeah,
really good mentor for sure.
yeah, right now, I think because as you know, as a coach and as a mindset coach and mentor, um, we don't have all the answers. And it's okay not to know. It's okay. Whatever is for me will come to me. And I'm here to receive and to allow.
I love that.
And
It's true. We don't have all the answers. I have a few good friends who will periodically reach out to me and just say, as my coach, what would you tell me to do? Whatever. I always say like that. First of all, that's your first mistake. I will not tell you to do anything. And oh yeah, I'm not your coach. But more importantly, more to the point, a coach doesn't have all the answers. We don't know what you should do. But what we know is that deep down, you know what you should do. And we can help you access that. And we can help you become more aware or conscious or mindful and help you develop some accountability so you can see it through and try different things and be there to support you on whatever your chosen journey is. But it has to come from a place of your choosing.
yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's all about responsibility. And it's super interesting that people, as you said, ask me what to do. And even when I was a practicing attorney, I didn't like to tell people what to do because it's a matter of responsibility. I'm
Yeah.
telling you the choices that you have, and you make your own decision because then it's always easy to point the finger. She told me to do that.
Right. Right.
And that's where suffering comes
Mhm.
from. Because if it's not, if the person doesn't take responsibility for themselves, of course, they're going to point fingers if things don't go well and they're not open.
I think that's right. I think also if you don't take responsibility, then you don't try as hard.
Yes.
And whatever you achieve isn't quite as meaningful as it could have been if you would have owned it.
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah. And now, as we approaching the end, I would like to ask you, what advice would you give somebody that feels stuck?
I don't know if it's advice as just so much the message I would give. For somebody who feels
The
stuck,
wisdom.
the wisdom. Um, for someone who feels stuck, I think first and foremost, what I would say is you don't have to be stuck, that there are ways to get unstuck. And you, if you start from a place where you value yourself and you can adopt some level of mindfulness or consciousness or awareness, then you can change any habits which will unstick you or that will unstick you. And I think that's really important. I think sometimes a coach can help somebody work through whatever is preventing them from fully valuing themselves. But valuing yourself has to, that's such a core component because any work you are going to do on yourself is going to require time and effort. So you have to know that you're worth it. And I think women certainly for a very long time just sort of grew up thinking I'm worth it is maybe something that plays well on commercials, but it's sort of a selfish thing to think. And I shouldn't want things for myself, or I shouldn't do things for myself. I don't want to be perceived as selfish. And there's nothing selfish about any of this. The taking care of yourself and realizing your own vision for yourself and your own goals and identifying what your values are, none of that is selfish. It's critical. It makes you the best person you can possibly be, which is ultimately best for the world that you're living in. So I would start there. I would also say, as easy as it is for a lot of people to roll their eyes at the idea of meditation and mindfulness, learning how to take a pause, learning how to stop, learning how your example, Andrea, with the study, sitting in silence for 15 minutes. If you can learn to do that, that unlocks your brain in so many ways. It makes everything so much more manageable and opens you up to so many possibilities you might not have even thought of beforehand. So like don't go for the buzzer. Don't go for the electric shock. Take the 15 minutes of quiet and recognize that it's about so much more than somebody's research project, that it can change you.
So many wonderful things can happen in those few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So please tell our listeners where they can find you to read your amazing blog and your amazing website.
Thank you.
Give us all the information.
My information is really easy. My website, which is the site that houses my blog, where my blog lives, is Wellness Through Change. WELLNESSTHROUGHChange.com. It sounds so much longer when you spell it out, but Wellness Through Change makes a lot of sense to me. It is worth changing to achieve the optimal wellness that you deserve.
Yes, and it's really resonating and really funny. I mean, all of the blog posts that I read really, really resonating.
Thank you
And
so
I'm
much.
sure a lot of people.
Thank you for that. I think what I have found since starting the blog is that I had things that I wanted to say in the hopes that my thoughts and my situations would resonate with other people, and I wanted people to not feel alone. Know that whatever it is that you're thinking or going through, and every single blog post, I've had people reach out to me afterwards saying, I was just thinking of that, or that's exactly what I needed this week. And, we're all so much more connected than we think we are. And I think it gives people so much comfort to know that whatever it is you're thinking and going through, you're really not alone. And community's good.
Yes, yes. And reaching out for as many people as possible to speak up.
Yeah.
Because we're helping ourselves and we are helping each other by speaking up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love what you're both doing. I think it's really wonderful. I'm really honored that you asked me to come join.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you for listening, and please come back next week to a next episode. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Robin.
so much.
Thank you. You guys have a wonderful time.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.